admitting these people. Let me get my ducks in a row over here. All right, I'm about to have a fun time because I'm doing this on one screen. So I'm going to try to do my best to not mess up. Okay, 1 second. All right, is the presentation up and nothing else? Can y'all confirm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. Just had to make sure. Um, so, welcome to our roundtable presentation. Um, the role of Scholastic Esports in a changing academic environment. My name's John Brundrett. I'm here at ACC. I am a history instructor. I am also the head coach of ACC Finns Esports. I'm also on the committee for this whole little get together, and so I wanted to contribute there as well. And I'm actually going to let my colleagues here, my counterparts, Ricky, Richard, and Arturo, introduce themselves. Ricky, go for it, man.
All righty. Yeah, so just like John said and everything, my name is Richard Rodriguez, or better known as Ricky. I am the esports coordinator at the University of Houston downtown. My role here at the university has been amazing. We just celebrated our anniversary of our program. We started back in 2018 with just a handful of students and everything with a brand new facility. We're one of the first institutions within the city of Houston to actually start an esports program, not so much a club or a student gathering or anything like that, but an actual program that competes nationally. We headline two major conferences and everything. I have over 100 plus students within my program as of this semester. But overall, I mean, it's just really great to spread the word of collegiate esports and everything. And I got to actually meet John for the first time and everything back in January when we bumped into each other at the Scholastic Esports Award in Ohio State University. So it's pretty cool.
All right, so I'm gonna also.
Arturo.
So hi, what you got? I'm Arturo Jesús Garcia. I'm a PhD student at U of H Maine, and I'm an officer at Go Gaming and Esports, which is the official esports organization at U of H. So my role is the esports director. So I'm in charge of managing all of our competitive teams and making sure that everyone is signed up for all other competitions, everyone is passing, and everyone's having a good time within their own game. So currently our program is just a club that's all run by student volunteers where we each give it our own time to build an esports community, and we have built an amazing community that's currently thriving. I believe we have about 100 something students competing across 8 games in about 30 teams in a tournament league. So all I want to do is just spread the word of esports and highlight the achievements of all my students and say, hey, I have so many people that are passionate about esports, and I want to push these thing that I have to the next level.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for those introductions. And I would also like to additionally just kind of introduce again what this talk is and why we're having it. So again, like the three of us actually met for the first time again at the Scholastic Esports Awards, back in January. But I have the feeling a lot of the people in this call, and then anyone that may watch this, because it is being recorded, you may be wondering like, well, you know, what are these coaches doing at an award show? And you at first you're going to be like, oh, well, of course, award show. What I found to my surprise, and I was very happy to see this, it was more like going to an academic conference that had an award show at the end. Because what it was 2-3 days, whatever it was, in those first couple days, it was exclusively it was panels, right? It was people talking about things and people talking about the field. In fact, one of the things that really spurred me to want to have engage specifically and have this presentation is I went to a presentation by Dr. Seth Jenny. I do apologize, I don't remember which institution he was at, but he had a panel on doing research about Scholastic Esports, right? like trying to get hard quantitative and qualitative data on the impact of esports. Now, to be fair, a lot of that data is still being collected. So this is not going to be me sitting up here and presenting a bunch of hard data to you. What this will actually be is a conversation between the three of us, right? All from the greater Houston area. And we all care deeply about esports, right? And what you will have noticed, both Ricky and Arturo mentioned getting the word out, right? And that's really our main point here. We want to get the word out about esports because we want esports to become common, right? I think right now, and we'll get into this in our roundtable discussions. Ricky and Arturo and myself, we've mentioned, hey, we are the esports coach, the esports coordinator, whatever the case may be, and we get varied responses, and a lot of it has to do with a good bit of confusion. And so our hope is, with this discussion, with this roundtable, maybe we can alleviate some of that confusion, right? That's kind of where we're coming from here. So I'm going to go ahead and move us forward here and make sure I actually do this correctly. All right. So here's the preview of what we're going to be talking about, right? We're just going to try to answer a couple questions here, right? What is esports? Why should colleges have esports? What successes have you had? So the three of us are going to kind of talk about that. And it's important to deal with the difficulties, right? What difficulties have you encountered? And then we're going to try to wrap this up with a nice little bow about student experiences, in particular, right? What are the positive experiences that students can have with esports? And how does this help and contribute to the overall student experience for an institution, right? Because an esports program, right, that's doing well is contributing to its institution, right? So it's kind of a feedback loop. And of course, at the end, we'll try to have some time for a Q&A. So I'm going to move us forward here. Let's start out very simply. What is esports, right? What does this mean? What on earth is esports? Is it Arturo, Ricky? You want to give a shot at the ostensibly simple question, perhaps?
Yeah, sure. So to me, esports is simply competition video games. Um, and like any other sport, you can call it there, than basketball, baseball, football. Um, those are physical activities and everything, but really it's just organized competition, but in the sense for video games. To me, I actually coined that phrase and everything when trying to do the background organization for creating my program back in 2017, 2016, when I was still a freshman and a sophomore here at University of Houston downtown. But one of the things that really stuck to me when I was talking to the directors at the time and everything is esports is nothing but organized competitions for video games. And everybody has that already.
Awesome. And Arturo, we want to give it a shot. What is esports?
Yeah,
What is esports?
like what you call it? Like Rick said, esports is simply applying sports terms to video games. So it's a structured competition for video games where you have teams on both sides, both competing to win a championship or obtain some sort of national of recognition at the state, national, regional, district level. It's just people that are passionate about a video game, that they're so passionate about it that they say, "Well, I know I'm the best and I want to prove it, so I'll compete against all these other people that they don't think that they're the best, to show that I'm indeed the best amongst all these people." Esports, in the end, for me, it's passion. It's all about passion.
Yeah, and I have the feeling throughout our conversation we're going to be coming back to that word passion quite a bit, because I couldn't help myself when trying to come up with a definition for this. I wanted to see what is an academic source call esports, right? And I did a simple Google, and one of the first things that came up was an article from the Harvard International Review, and this is in part what they said. So they said, simply put, esports are video games that are played in a highly organized, competitive environment. These games can range from popular team-oriented multiplayer online battle arenas, so MOBAs, to single player first person shooters, to survival battle royales, to virtual reconstructions of physical sports. Um, and honestly, all of these definitions we just mentioned are accurate, right? This is all true. But I think one common element we've seen here is organization and competition. And honestly, I think those two terms are very important for us to recognize because I don't know, guys. I mean, and we'll get to this when we talk about difficulties, I'm sure. But one of the things is sometimes an uphill battle, right, to convince people like, hey, esports is a legitimate thing, right? We need this at an institutional level, especially in a collegiate environment, right? Sometimes there are detractors, but if we have a discussion of organization and competition, well, people wouldn't challenge that, right, for traditional sports, right? Because it's organized, it's competitive, and things like that. Of course, there are caveats. Esports is different, which is another whole nother conversation, which hopefully we can kind of get at a little bit. So that's just a little intro there. That's just a little intro about what is esports. But let's move forward. Why should colleges have esports? Which one of us wants to start this one out? What do we think?
I think you should answer it, John, from your point of view and everything, because I guess out of the three of us, your program is one of the newest. So why should esports uh, exist over there in Alvin Community College?
No, I love that. So I expect this to probably be the longest section, to be honest. Maybe we shouldn't have front loaded with this one, but I feel like it's goes well. We define esports and talk about why. So first off, yeah, I am definitely the newest one here. For anyone watching that doesn't know this, I only started as the esports head coach mid-October. So it's been months. It hasn't even been an academic year or even a full academic semester for me. So I am brand spanking new to this, whereas my two counterparts here have been doing this for years, right? One unique thing, though, and this will come out as we discuss more, like we all kind of have unique backgrounds here. I mean, both Ricky and Arturo started as students. I mean, Arturo is still a student, right? Granted, grad school. Don't sell yourself short, buddy. Right? You'll be doctor, right? Soon. We all hope. We all know. But for me, I didn't come from an esports background at all. I came from an academic background. I'm a historian by trade, right? I happen, though, to love video games. In fact, I'm sitting in my room at my house and I am surrounded by retro video game consoles and stuff. I adore video games, but truthfully, I knew nothing about competitive esports. But when the the opportunity arose, I decided I would step in, right? And since then, I've learned a lot. And so I'm trying to answer now why esports. Well, at ACC, I mean, most of the people on this call, right, teach at ACC and probably even from the local area. Alvin's a pretty small place, right? It's not usually, with a few exceptions, it's not usually a destination, right? College. We are a community college. We are a commuter college, right? But community is key. Community is key, especially in a small town, even like Alvin, of course, right? You can build that community and you can also build a culture, a campus culture. And campus culture can be done in a million different ways, right? But anything that can bring a bunch of students together where they're hanging out, they see each other routinely, and then they start, I mean, that can turn into study groups, friendships, relationships, whatever the case may be, right? There's a lot of value there in building community, right? So that's one element that I think is very important, especially at a community college. I mean, it's in the name. It is literally in the name, community college, right? So that's important. Outside of that, I mean, in the community college environment, I mean, let's be frank, a lot of our students are working full time. Their classes may not be their primary focus, right? Something else that gets them on campus more consistently and just more involved with the rest of the student body is only a positive, right? Very simply put, that is only a positive. And again, that goes back to community. But further, and this is going to be the point where I'm going to, brag on ACC for a moment. This is our first semester. We have our inaugural scholarship team. We have 10 students effectively on full rides at Alvin Community College. This is huge. We are all very excited about it. We're hoping we can continue to do this. And I got to give a shout out to Dr. Vasquez. Dr. Vasquez, our athletics director here at ACC, has been an integral part in making sure all of this runs smoothly. And we're very proud of that accomplishment. But I'm also a product of ACC, and I know that the one of the main motivators for a lot of people getting involved in a community college is affordable education. Well, handing out scholarships, guess what? That is also another avenue of building out affordable education. So there's a lot of other things that I could go into, but I also know the three of us are going to have quite a bit of overlap. So hopefully I've kind of primed that conversation a little bit. So Ricky, go for it, man. Why do we need esports in college, dude?
Well, like you said, you hit a lot of the big points and everything that go with my program and everything. Of course, UHD is a full 4-year university and everything. You can get your bachelor's, master's, the whole 9 yards and everything. But we are a community campus, right in the middle of downtown Houston and everything. We only have so many buildings. We don't have dorms, and just like out in community college, a lot of our students, around 70% of our students, are like do have jobs, do have other responsibilities and everything like that. But esports and other activities and programs on campus and everything, they provide a outlet for a untapped student population that want to be involved on campus, that want to be part of something bigger, better, to a place that they pay to go to. And another thing for like the cost and everything that John alluded to, UHD is a very affordable campus and everything, one of the most affordable inside the city of Houston. And of course, in tune the scholarships and everything like that. Unfortunately, we don't have that over here, but we do offset the cost and everything for each and everybody's equipment. We buy everybody keyboards, mice, jerseys, and everything. We make sure if the student wants to be a part of the program over here, we take care of them 110% of the way. One of the biggest things we have are other incentives on campus and everything, whether it be discounts at our bookstore to discounts on what's called the food court here and everything else like that. We give as much opportunity to the students that partake within our program as much as possible. But like you said, esports should exist to give that uh, untapped market, that untapped student population, a chance to belong to somewhere they feel like they want to be. So there you go.
Absolutely, Arturo. What do you think, man? What's your sales pitch?
All
When
right, so
someone's like, why are we here?
all right. I think Ricky and John, they went over like the two main things, which is just like the community aspect and and gamers are underserved are an underserved community in most colleges. So in the community aspect, so esports is not just one community. Esports is built up of thousands of small of thousands of communities that each game has. Each game has an extremely passionate community that if you give them an opportunity to say, okay, here's an outlet for you to come to campus and engage with your fellow gamers on campus doing this activity, you'll you'll build an extremely dedicated and passionate audience that I have seen firsthand as a student how this communities they built up from scratch to have 20, 30, 40 people, everyone coming weekly to meetings, showing up and playing their favorite games among their friends. So, some something else I want to indicate. Something else I want to say is that esports provides students the ability to intermingle with people they want to typically interact, because typically most students only interact with people inside their major or people that they meet in class. Esports it gives them the opportunity to talk to people outside of their class, or people that maybe are in entirely different departments. They all come together because of a singular passion that is esports and playing the video game. And through this, I have seen people form lifelong friendships where they're like, okay, we met, like they go out every weekend, they play until late until like 2 or 3 in the morning, their favorite video game either on campus, and it's just people that are extremely passionate about what they do. So I believe serving this community and saying, hey, your campus sees you, and it gives you the ability, it supports you, maybe not through scholarships, like like other community college, but by giving them a space and giving them certain benefits, you can bolster your community and massively help your esports program your sports program grow. So this is why I believe colleges should support esports. It's just an untapped market full of passionate people that want to be seen and heard by a campus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't remember, Ricky, did you I know when we were prepping for this, did you use the phrase just now though, the what did you call it? Like the silent community, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like gamers on campus are almost like this silent community. Like and it's funny too, because like from the instructional side, all professors would, and if you're sitting at the the coffee machine or whatever, the coffee pot, talking to another professor, and like everyone's going to reference how, oh, all these kids have all this technology all the time. Yeah, they do. And guess what they're doing with it? A lot of the times they're gaming, man. They're gamers.
Yeah.
Everything from the casual gamers to the really competitive people. And I know, like, in all three of our programs, we have all of that. We have the people that want to like go all the way and maybe even like go into a professional team, a professional esports team, and try to fight for prize money. And then you have other people that just want to hang out and play Animal Crossing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's everything
Mm-hmm.
in between,
Yeah.
but it's such
And
a large community, right? And again, like what I was saying, like schools only benefit from getting that buy-in from those students. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
little bit of overhead with the machines, but I mean, there's overhead for all sorts of stuff, right? So I mean, I feel like it's a very easy transition to make. And I will say this, I did bring up the scholarships, not just to brag, but I also would love to see a world. Well, no, really, I'd love to see a world in which that's not worth bragging about because everyone has it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sports in every college and whatever, like scholarships are a given. It's a given. Esports isn't there yet. And so our hope is, honestly, through conversations like this, is, let's be honest, guys, like we want more people to just be comfortable with the idea of esports being everywhere.
Yeah.
And if we can get to that, especially in the college environment, then yes, even more money will be allotted, and no one we can move past the questions of what is esports, and it's like, hey, how much more can we give esports, right? You know what I mean? How can we entice more students to come in on campus, right? I think that's a lot of the value there of esports, right? Let's bring these people in and let's retain them too. Retention. I don't
Yep.
I
Yeah.
don't know how we went this far. We haven't said the word retention. Retention, man, retention, right? Trust me, when students start playing games together each week, they want to come back.
Yep.
I see
Yeah.
this. We all see this every week, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
And yeah. So, something that John said is the silent community. The silent community. Something I see on campus as a student. I see people that have that maybe like they don't wear like gaming merch on their body, but I see them that they have. I see them playing on their phone in between a class, or they have a Nintendo Switch in their bag, or they have a charm, something small that they can, from a video game. So it's people that talk to them like, "Hey, you play this video game," and it just strikes as a long conversation about their favorite game. And I see it every day. People like they don't play maybe the most competitive games, but they play casual games for fun on their off time. And anything can be an esport or a video game. Like now you have video games for the crossword, for Sudoku, for so many things that you wouldn't think is a traditional esport, but if you do it, there's there's a community in esports for it, and that's something I love about esports. Every single person can find a fit and a match for the game that they love. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. That was also something else we had talked about. We were prepping for this about a week ago. We had talked about how, like, it's adaptable, right? Like esports is a very adaptable thing. It's got legs, right? Because esports is not one video game, right? It's a whole multitude of video games, which actually goes to what I was saying earlier about, yeah, esports is different, right? There's conversations to this day, and actually at the esports awards we went to, one of the panels was on, is it worth fitting esports into the traditional model of sports, right? And I think there's always going to be a lot of opinions on that. I think there are reasons for that and reasons against it, right? There are elements of esports that are obviously unique, right? Um, and we can certainly revisit some of these topics, but I want to make sure we do cover all the stuff that we had planned on talking about. So we've talked about why should colleges have esports. So what successes have each of you had? Let's talk. So you guys have been doing this for a lot longer than me, so I think y'all have a lot more to pull from here. So I don't know, Ricky. what successes have you guys seen over there at UHD, man?
Yeah, for like the past couple of years and everything, we've had 3 national championships and everything. We're in the playoffs every single year. Student population wise and everything, our peak we've had around 300 students back in right before the pandemic hit and everything. But within the program, but our program's been chugging along, nice even pace and everything else like that. We've had 100% graduation rate. We've had students come in, transfer from Lone Star College, from HTC, and everything like that, just to be part of my program. I've actually started doing high school signing days where I actually help coordinate and scout out competition and potential students and everything from Alden ISD, um, what's it called, Stafford ISD, HISD, some of the local schools and everything like that. Seniors and juniors who are graduating high school and everything. I got to talk to their parents. I got to talk to their administrators, their teachers, and everything, and give them a bridge to UHD so they can continue their higher education dreams and everything, but also play the games they love, be a community they're already familiar with and everything, and really just foster that sense of esports within the K through 12 community and of course collegiate as well. But that's just a broad aspect, sort of success things we've done in the past. We've been invited to plenty of conventions around the city of Houston and everything. Usually we call our summertime convention season where we're invited to like Comic Palooza, Anime Matsuri. We do panels for the Houston Galveston Esports Summit. We've done plenty of things on campus. We've hosted competitions citywide, but we just want to make sure that our program, just like before, reaches far and wide so that anybody and everybody can be a part of it and be a part of UHD in return. So there you go.
Awesome, man. What about you, Arturo? I know you're over there in the trenches, man, but
Yeah.
you've seen a lot of success. So let's talk about that. What successes have you seen over there at UH Maine?
Yeah, so I mean, our successes like what we got in competition. My teams have seen a lot of success. Like I think every semester I have at least one team make it far into the playoffs and win a championship in in their start games. Sometimes I have two or three, and I'm always extremely proud of my teams that do that. But beyond competition, we have seen a lot of success here in the UH front. Our biggest two successes have been building physical spaces in the UH main and the UH Sugarland campus for gaming and esports. So in UH, we built this space called the Cougar Arcade, which is a space based on around consoles, which has a few PlayStation 4s and Nintendo Switches, where students can shop with their controller or rent one from the arcade, and they can play. And next, so actually, we saw our biggest success this semester, which is that the campus at UH Sugarland built they built out an esports lab. So this lab, it has 20 gaming PCs which are fully equipped, and it's something that's ready for us to use. And I'm extremely excited to go and show up to all the students and have them shop every week and play till they can't anymore. So that's something I'm extremely proud to have achieved. And beyond this, we have had small successes. Like something of my students always ask me, it's like they're like, "Hey, there's this thing that we want to travel to. We want to travel to Dallas, Kentucky, Ohio to compete and show and just have this experience and show people that hey, UH has big esports. So currently, I have a deal with administration where they told me, okay, you can take you can take up to 3 teams each year to compete in different tournaments, and we will cover your hotel costs and your plane costs. So that has been a huge win for me. And tell my students, hey, now you have something to play for. You have something that, hey, if you want to make it to the in-person competition, you have to win. You have to show UFH that you're passionate and you're good enough to make it down there. Now, these are only, I mean, these are big successes, but these are only a small part of the picture. To my big goal. So like in the end, like what we call like what my big goal in the end is to build all of this and establish the esports program in UH, which is currently not a success, but it's a success in progress. It's something that's in progress and it's going to happen hopefully at some point in the near future.
Dude, that's awesome. And by the way, just to be clear, when I made a reference to Arturo being in the trenches, that's because he's doing all this as a volunteer. He's getting his PhD, and like there is no staff. It's Arturo. And he's over there pulling this together, right? And so, honestly, Ricky and I have been endlessly impressed with Arturo over there with all that he's been able to do. Because at least for Ricky and I, like, we're hired, right, for the position, right, to do these things. But that Arturo's just putting his head down and doing the work and getting it done. But this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, like in reference to the scholarships, of course, at ACC, that's huge, right? That's like definitely our biggest success. But man, I think we would all love to get to a point where like scholarship esports teams again is just not unique. And I know I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I'll probably say it a couple more times, right, before this is all over. Right? We want to see esports getting legitimized. But yeah, so other successes though at ACC for us, man. It's interesting because we're actually a um, relatively small group of players. I think technically, if I was to look at the Discord, we've broken 100 or whatever. It's actually probably way past that. But active players, I mean, it's I don't know, 30 maybe. You know what I mean? Probably sub that. Like I said, our scholarship team is 10 players, and actually two of those are team managers. But actually, I look at that as a success in itself. We have built a program at ACC that we are able to help students get affordable education by just helping the machine of an esports program move, right? Because I mean, these guys know there's a lot that goes into esports outside of just playing the game because you have hardware, the actual physical machines that has to be maintained, right? In our case, for example, this is going to seem small, but we use wireless headsets and wireless mice. Well, guess what? Those have to be charged, and you have to make sure those are taken care of leading up to a competition because you do not want a stoppage of play for something as silly as, oh, my headset died, right? First off, that's kind of embarrassing if it's your team's fault that happens to, and depending on your conference, they may not have a lot of leeway for you because they may frankly look at you and say, well, that's your fault. That's something you could have anticipated. Now, internet outages is a different thing, and game crashes are something you can't entirely control. But right, that level of support that our institution has given has been fantastic, right? Our ACC students are very thankful and very fortunate in a lot of ways. I mean, even the gear that I'm wearing, this hat, I'm wearing ACC's first official jersey, pretty much. We were able to cobble together the funds, right? We have the budget to give these to our students. You know what I mean? And back to community, I mean, we've built a community at ACC of these students that are proud to be walking around with a black t-shirt with the Fins logo, right? Or, the scholarship team, we gave them Adidas backpacks, they're red backpacks with the Fins logo, right? They're happy, they're proud to do this, right? They know they're a part of a team, and the buy-in it's so cool to see the buy-in. I got to brag a little bit on my team captains. I've got two team captains. We have a Call of Duty 4 versus 4 team, and then we have an Overwatch 2 team. And both of these team captains have just poured themselves into this work. In fact, one of the people watching here, Professor Swiger here, I believe, Mr. Swiger, you've actually had my Call of Duty team captain, Jaime, in one of your classes. But that's, to me, is one of the big successes is seeing the drive that these students have when they're given the runway. You know what I mean? You give them the runway to play these games and actually build a community, and they sprint with it. They truly do. Even we stream all of our games now on Twitch. The person that's in charge of our social media and especially our Twitch, he had just started building out the Twitch by himself before scholarships or anything was on the table. He just came to me and my assistant coach one day and said, "Hey guys, look at what I did." And he showed us all this code that he built, right? And he had built out an entire Twitch just by himself. No one asked him to do that. He had just done that. And I think that's a big part of the successes we've seen at ACC is a lot of self-starters, a lot of very driven individuals. And honestly, I don't think that's unique to ACC. I think all these esports programs, it's a lot of what it is. And I know, Ricky and Arturo could speak to this as well. Like a lot of the esports, collegiate esports world, if you look at a lot of the coaches right now, I'm kind of the outlier. Like I'm the academic that ended up in this. Most of these other coaches started as a student who most of the time started the esports team 5, 10 years ago at their own college, and now they are the coach, right? And I think that's so awesome because one thing, if let's be frank here, one thing that gamers get accused of sometimes is maybe being lazy. Oh, well, they're sitting on their computers all the time and they're not doing whatever else. And then it's like, well, I don't know. Maybe you can make that argument if you'd like, but that to be good at a competitive video game, that requires the same drive that you need, right, in any other competitive environment, and that is a transferable thing, right? That's transferable, and so I think that definitely speaks to some of those successes. So I'm going to move us forward. Let's talk about being in the trenches. What about difficulties, guys? What about difficulties? What are some things we've run into? We know we all have. I'm actually gonna let's start with Arturo because I know Arturo, you're really the one of the three of us. You're fighting the uphill battle, right? Because you don't have a staff, right? It's all volunteer. Um, so you've talked to us about successes, man. What about these challenges that you've run into? What about these difficulties?
I mean, which we got the biggest challenge I have right now is just is is having them recognized enough so they were willing to take the step forward to build the esports program. So because they have built labs, they have supported us in different ways, but currently the admin is still like maybe a bit reticent out pushing us forward into that next level. So currently I'm working with administration and a few partners to figure out the best way to convince the UFH admin to push us in that next step forward. But that's a long term also. So what's some other issues I have run into as a major? So the first is what happens when passion runs into adversity. So because because we'll have students that are extremely passionate and they want to compete and play video games. But what happens when these students run into a hurdle? When they run into a chance of like, okay, now I have to match with these 5, 10 personalities that I have never met before and call us into a team. What happens when they run into someone that's better than them? What happens with all these things? And it's something that sometimes if a student is up for the challenge, they're also for it and they take it. But if a student is maybe a bit doubt if they doubt themselves a bit, or maybe they aren't fully sold into esports, they can see drop into the program. And as an unofficial and as an unofficial club, I don't have the resources to maybe to support the distance in the way I would like it to, or maybe convince them to play. Like this, it's all based on passion. And if the passion fizzles out, or maybe it doesn't hold up to all the pressure that comes from actually competing, then I lose members from that. And it's something that frustrates me because I know I could be doing a much better job at supporting these students. It's just getting the actual support to do that. Next is just what you call helping us with the extra things because as John said, he provided us with gear and stuff like that. Well, here I don't get any sort of funding to any of that, so it's all funded through student paying their dues or just reaching out to sponsors and having them support us in that way. Like this jersey I'm wearing, it's something that we as students we all came together. We ordered about 100, each one of us paying out $15 for the jersey, and we got it because we were all passionate enough to do that with esports. So it's just and I want to do more. I want to provide them with more travel opportunities, with more gear, with just more. So currently, So these are the my main struggles. Just supporting my students in more ways, in the ways that I see this program should be able to support them.
Absolutely, man, for sure. What about you, Ricky?
I'd say one of my biggest challenges is dealing with new administration. One of the things that, of course, everybody in higher education has to understand, especially regarding new programs and stuff like that, is that the people you answer to, whether it be directors, VPs, and deans and everything else like that, they don't stay at the university forever. And when new people come in, you have to educate them on different things that are going on within the university, but especially about your program and where you work. I had to endure that difficulty last semester, or really last year. Um, but with a new change and everything, we actually had to change departments. I used to have my esports program underneath our student activities, or now it's called student leadership and involvement, where the student clubs, the Greek life and everything, and other programs of that nature reside. But the higher ups at the time didn't feel that esports was a good they have a good home over there within student activities. So they moved us to sports fitness, where the entire sports fitness department was just hired in that same March of that year. So I actually had the great opportunity to be the most tenured person there within our own new department. So starting from scratch and everything, and being separated from my original department and everything is an effort to endure, but it's necessary. Like John said before, esports in itself is a very adaptable field where many walks of life, many origins of nature and everything of people try to get together and everything and play the video games that they love and hold competitions that they feel that the students can really take part of and everything. And right now, I'm getting over that hump and everything and saying, hey, the program's doing good. I have plenty of participation and everything. It's just that we have to make sure that we stand for what we believe in, whether it be our program, our students that participate, and everything else in between. So there you go.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
At ACC, I've personally run into a lot of challenges, but that's not because of ACC's, situation or anything like that. It's because I'm having to learn so much right on the spot. Um, but I will say this: one thing that is unique to the community college environment is we have dual enrollment students, so i.e., high school students taking college classes, and in fact, it's about half of our student body
Okay.
is our high school students. And what we run into then are problems of, okay, like if half the student body, right, are sitting in the high schools and we go to them, by the way, like we're teaching at the high schools, they're not coming to us, with the exception of homeschool high school students. Parents will often actually bring them up to campus and stuff. But we can include them in our programs. And in fact, one of our scholarship players is a high school student. He's on my Call of Duty team. Um, but I run into problems pretty consistently. Like, who is going to get my player to his match each week, right? Like, got to coordinate with mom and dad now, right? It's not just with the player, it's not just with the student. And also, when it comes to building community, which I've touted this whole time, it's actually pretty difficult to build a community that includes a lot of these high school students when they can't drive up to campus because a lot of them don't have their license yet, or if they do, they're not at the point where they're able to drive independently all the time. And frankly, we are south of Houston. It's a relatively rural area, sure, but it could be a long distance, right? Talking about 15, 20 miles and stuff like that. And yeah, a lot of these matches are at night. Makes sense that parents are not going to want, their 16-year-old, their 17-year-old driving down to a college campus, hanging out with a bunch of 20, 21, 22, 23, 4-year-olds, right? Until late on a weeknight, for example. Um, and so that's a gap that I have not actually fully grasped on how to bridge that. Now, granted, you can play a lot of these games virtually, which is fine. But I think we all know, especially again on the big C word, community, right? To build a real community, you want people in the same room together, right? So like between matches and between games and stuff, you can chop it up, you can, make jokes or commiserate on a loss between a loss, right? And so it's kind of hard to build community in that regard. So that's definitely one thing that's kind of unique that I did want to point out. Um, the other thing is, and this is something that's been referenced by especially Arturo, is buy-in from students, especially at the club level. So at ACC, for example, and I think this is the case for all of us, we have like the competitive higher tier, but then we also have like just the casual people, right? Specifically, we play in the NJC AAE. Um, they have a tiered system. It's tier 1, 2, and 3. At ACC, the tier 1 and 2, those are what we call our competitive team. Those are the people on scholarship. But then we have tier 3. That's just club. In fact, under NJC, you don't even have to be a student to play for ACC at tier 3. It's like very open ended, and it's meant to be as all inclusive as possible. Which you would think that would turn into, oh my gosh, just a flood of players. What it actually turns into is a flood of people that want to be players. But then when it comes to, hey, there's a Marvel Rivals match at 6 p.m. on Monday, can y'all let me know who's going to come, because we have to have someone stay late, for example, to keep the building open and make sure the computers are turned on, right? And then suddenly you have 10, 15 people that are interested and only 4 people respond to that ready up the day before. And then the next morning comes and they're like, oh, wait, are we playing Marvel Rivals today? And you have to tell those 3 that wanted to, well, no, we're not, because not enough people said they're invested, right? This happens routinely. And now, I mean, maybe this is a problem that I'm just running into and I need to learn to get better. Probably, I'm new at this, but that is a problem, right? And it is kind of hard to get the buy-in of people who are kind of transient about this, right? Like they're coming in for a little bit, hanging out for a little bit, then they leave, and they may not return consistently, or they do return every day. They just don't spend the time to show up for competitions, right? So it's kind of interesting, right? You can build a community of interested people, but can you move to that next level of getting buy-in? And I don't have the answer to that yet. And me and my players, my support staff, like we're all trying to figure that out, and to varying degrees of success. So yeah, that's definitely one of the problems I run into. So for the sake of time, let's get to this last little question here. Student experience. So this is the part where we try to toe. Good Lord. Ty, sorry, it's Friday. It's Friday. I have an excuse. I haven't had my coffee. To tie a neat little bow on this, right? So I'm going to open it to you guys. Like, what is the ideal student experience, right, that we want to come from esports? You know what I mean? Because our whole thing here, at the end of the day, we want to convince people that esports has a value, but that main value comes from the student experience, right? It's not professors playing these games, it's the students. So, in y'all's ideal world, what is the ideal esports student experience in a collegiate app?
Ricky, you're muted.
You're muted, bud.
Sorry about that. But yeah, for us over here, I'd say one of the most ideal experiences and everything did happen to one of my. He's now a junior. For Smash Brothers. I actually picked this person up. His name's Ife and everything back when he was in high school in Alden ISD. I got to talk to his parents and everything. I got to have a signing day with him. I got to meet him right as his high school prime and everything. He just won one of his uh, state high school Smash Brothers championships and everything in the little competition that they participated in. And I got to pick him up, have him here at UHD and everything, have him under other scholarships, not so much esports scholarships, but other scholarships that the university gives to prospective freshman students and everything. I mean, he has a 4.0 GPA. He consistently top ranks every single season that we have Smash Brothers and everything. And for national competition, he's in playoffs every single year. One of the things I do have with him and everything is his participation. For one, he if I need something from him and everything from his team, he's right there on it. If I see him in the hallway and everything, I fist bump him. I make him feel welcomed at the university, at the institution, and everything. And in return, he gives me 110% every single day that I see him and everything. And I think he is experiencing the ideal esports experience here at UHD, where he's a big part of a team. He is a student leader above all else and everything, and he brings 110% of his participation to every single practice, scrimmage, and competition that we host and we have for all of my teams. So I think that start them young and get them interested from the K through 12 aspect and everything is crucial. Building that relationship and everything with the parents and the siblings, and really pretty much building a whole generation of esports, getting Ife's friends, getting Ife's family involved and everything, get them into the UHD ecosystem so that they can see how much potential he has as a student, but also how much potential the program has for students like him and everybody else. So that's what I think about the ideal student experience is you come in, you experience everything, you make that experience available for the next generation, and you keep on going forward.
Amen, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Arturo, what about you, man? What's the ideal student esports experience at University of Maine campus, maybe?
Yeah. So for me, in a what in a current state, the ideal experience is basically a student that's interested in esports, and they come to us and say, "I'm interested in doing this, in competing, in leadership, in video production, etc." And we find a role for them to thrive in, and we give them the resources. Like maybe we have someone they're like so we place them in a team so they can start competing. Or there's someone that's like, oh, I love doing video editing for video games. What can I do? And we give them a role, and we help them gain skills in their desired areas, so they can start just learning new things, and just starving in the area. Part of part of the student experience is also just making new friendships and just meeting new people. And I think my Overwatch team is the perfect example of this. So this is a team that I started 3 years ago as just a small scene of like 8 people, 2 managers, and 6 players, where we're just getting to know each other and slowly learning Overwatch. And as time went on, I had someone say, "Oh, I want to become the new manager." So they took over the management position, and the scene has kept on growing and growing and growing to a point where my current Overwatch scene has about 20 something people. Everyone who's extremely tight with each other. They're friends. They play with each other. I see them every night on Discord playing till like 3, 4 in the morning, and it's just everyone's having a blast in each other, and they're super comfortable with each other. And for me, that's the ideal experience. Someone that says I want to engage with the esports community, and we place them in a space where they can meet all these people that are extremely passionate about what they do, extremely friendly, and it's just building skills and just and having them meet people in a way that's special to them and makes them remember esports fondly, and have them come back to esports and tell their friends, hey, come to esports. I did this amazing thing with my friends, with the people I just met, and just build our community through that. They're just word of mouth of like, hey, this is an amazing community, and I want to spread out the word. So to me, that's the desired experience. Someone that got such a good experience that they want to get other people involved in it to build an amazing community.
Well
Mhm.
said, man. No, I think we all have that exact same goal, right? Especially word of mouth is pretty big for for all of our growth as well. And I mean, I benefit, being at a relatively small college that, word of mouth goes very far, very quickly,
Yeah.
because we are pretty small. But I think the ideal student experience at ACC within esports is, I mean, obviously, yeah, like make it to the competition team, but also just, we've moved to a pretty heavy online and hybrid modality for teaching, and so there's a lot of people that aren't on campus as much. Um, it's awesome being in the student center and the game arena and seeing like how it's like becoming this heart of campus where students congregate and just hang out and talk, right? And you begin to see the same faces pretty often, and you get to see these communities forming like in real time. And a lot of that is around these video games, right? Especially when we put together like tournaments. We did a Mario Kart tournament a couple weeks back, and it was super successful. Like we all like so many people played, and I forgot we gave like a T-shirt or something like that as like a winning, and it was really cool to see the buy-in and the interest of people and people returning, right, coming back to take part in that. I think hopefully whatever program is ends up getting built because again ACC is like we're actually not that new. We're a couple years old, but there was the push for advanced growth right into something truly competitive is relatively recent, and I just hope that our success becomes like that being consistent, right? Like I want to get to the point where you guys are keeping up with that. But okay, I think we're towards the end here. Brian, we do we end at 45 or 50? It's 50, right?
50. Yeah.
50. So I think at this point, let's do this. If there are, oh, sorry. If there are any questions, let's open up the floor. I don't know if anyone has any questions or not, but let's open up the floor to any questions if anyone has any.
I'm mostly just curious about kind of your level of expertise in all the wide range of games. I actually I saw the opening at ACC and considered it because I'm a pretty big gamer myself, but like I only knew about 2/3 of the games. Like you should be knowledgeable and able to advise on all of these things. So how do you keep up on such a wide variety of games?
Well, I can give a quick and dirty answer to that. My title is coach. I'm a team manager. And what does that mean? I don't know how to play a majority of the games that those my players do, but as someone who's actually de facto being a team manager, I find team captains, right, that are the most driven students for each game title that do know the metas, right, do know how to play that game well, and then I help them build a team, and then in a lot of ways they really become the coach, right? And so that's just how I run it. Now, what I will say is, again, esports, especially in the college world, it's not actually that new, but it's relatively new. And certainly, sorry, lost my train of thought. There's a lot of different ways to address that, right? And to be fair, I will say, in an ideal world, I work myself out of a job here, and I find we get to the funding at ACC where we can hire a full-time esports person who actually grew up doing esports and was competitive and all that. I'd love to see that eventuality happen, to be honest with you, because if we look at Ricky over here, he knows a lot about esports. He came from esports and he's built an awesome program, right? And that is his job, right? He's paid to do that, and he's much more, frankly, equipped to do that job than I am. But of course, our funding model at ACC is, well, not to get into the weeds. I mean, the priority was to not hire a full-time person, right? We pulled from current faculty, right? That's how that happened. So ACC's model is different than UH downtown. It's different than UH Maine, which doesn't even have anyone hired for that position, right? So there's a lot of movement there, and there's a lot of leeway to do that. But I think, to wrap that up, rely upon the students that you have that do have that game knowledge, because I would even bet, I mean, Ricky, I'm sure you know a lot of your games, but I'm confident you have plenty of players that know certain games way better than you, and you're not going to try to tell them how to play the game when they know it better than you, right? So you lean on them, which is the difference with esports. A baseball coach played baseball, right? They know baseball. An esports coach, it's not reasonable to expect them to know every single game within your conferences that you're in, because there's like 20 games in NJC. I don't know how to play all those games. They're not even the same types of games, and neither does any individual player on my team, right? So it's a very different environment. That's a fantastic question. Honestly, I had the same question going in, and then I'm learning to deal with it. I'll just put it that way.
There you go.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Does this guy ever wait? Oh, you can't see that. Oh man. Does Sonic ever appear in your video? Is Sonic one of the games?
I knew he was going to do that.
I had to.
Background, Brian has a reputation. Everything he owns is Sonic themed. I think even his lanyard is Sonic. I text him about Sonic stuff all the time. He's addicted. You know,
just a little bit.
I think we missed it, man. Esports was not in the colleges in the 90s, unfortunately, when Sega was trying to remain at the top of the kingdom. But hey, hope maybe Sega will come out with another game that will actually make it into the competitive world. Maybe some speed running.
Okay.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Actually,
Sonic is in fact Sonic is in fact one of the most popular esports games. So Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a collection of several characters from a ton of games, and Sonic is in that game.
I haven't played Smash Bros. In ages, man. Ugh. Have kids and you can't do anything.
Actually, I have a question too.
Oh, yes. Next question.
I teach at ACC also, and so this is just I know y'all look at the sport as being something like someone who plays like football or soccer or something like that. But what I was wondering is, do majority of your students have fields or in the degree plans, like for computer science or for computer technology? What kind of programs do y'all have there? Y'all say programs. I'm assuming that means you only talking about the sport itself and not the programs like academic programs.
Yes, actually, here at UHD and everything, I'd say 60% of our student population is either from our business college or or the remainder is going to be our comp sci majors. We do have a little bit of our humanities and social sciences and everything. That's actually my background. I got my bachelor's in health and behavior science here at UHD and everything. But one of our big populations of students and everything are our comp sci majors, and they help us with a few other codings and everything else like that. They do product pushing and everything for comp sci and slash business majors, of course. But one of the biggest things for education purposes over here at UHD is that we have a what's called like a GPA threshold and a grade threshold. So let's say, for example, if a student wants to participate within my program, they have to have like a certain GPA. Right now, it's around 2.5 GPA and everything, and not to be in academic probation. Like I say, if they